Putin celebrates dear friend Xi's 70th birthday with warm words. On Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin sent Chinese President Xi Jinping a birthday message, praising his dear friend on the occasion of his 70th year on Earth. Putin told Xi, "It is difficult to overestimate the efforts you have been making to foster the comprehensive partnership between Russia and China, which has increased cooperation in recent years. Because of Moscow's isolation in the West after its offensive in Ukraine, ties between the two leaders have strengthened. As Moscow's international isolation grows, analysts say China holds the upper hand in the relationship." Putin stated that he was optimistic about the future of the constructive dialogue, adding that it was in the best interests of the Russian and Chinese people for it to continue. The rubber stamp parliament in China gave Xi an unprecedented third term as president in March. However, the beginning of his term comes as the world's second-largest economy grapples with significant challenges, including sluggish growth, a troubled real estate sector, and a falling birth rate. Putin said that the re-election confirmed your high political authority and the wide support for the path you have chosen. Putin said, "Under your leadership, the People's Republic of China achieved impressive successes. China's economy is growing steadily, the standard of living of its citizens is improving, and Beijing's global standing is improving. Producing high-quality journalism is expensive and time-consuming, but we continue to do it anyway. Our staff in Kashmir and elsewhere is working around the clock to bring you news of interest, break major stories, and expose injustices that can lead to real change. Kashmir Observer has a record number of readers, but only a small percentage are paying subscribers, and advertising revenue is rapidly declining." An emotional reunion took place on Friday between a Syrian teen and his older brother, both of whom survived the shipwreck that killed at least 78 people off the coast of Greece. Early Wednesday morning, roughly 50 miles, 80 kilometers, from the southern coastal town of Pylos, a fishing boat estimated to be between 20 and 30 meters long, 65 and 100 feet, capsized and sank, taking with it an estimated 400 to 750 people. Greek authorities initially rescued 104 people and recovered the bodies of 78 others who had drowned in the disaster, but since then, no additional bodies have been located. Friday marked the continuation of a massive search and rescue operation, but hopes were dwindling that any of the hundreds of people thought to have been on board the boat when it sank in some of the deepest waters of the Mediterranean would be found alive. Officials have said that the majority of the passengers on board were from Egypt, Syria, and Pakistan. On Friday morning, 18-year-old Syrian survivor Mohammed broke down in tears upon seeing his older brother Fadi, who had come all the way from the Netherlands to look for him. Greek police had erected metal barricades around a warehouse in Kalamata where survivors had been sleeping for the past 2 days, and the survivors wept and hugged each other through the barricades. Fadi said, "Thank God for your safety," as he doted on his younger brother or sister several times and hugged them both. 25 additional family members waited outside the Kalamata shelter, clutching mobile phone screenshots of their loved ones and hoping for news. On Friday, 71 of the survivors were taken by bus to the Malakasa migrant camp, a gated facility with barbed wire fencing about 40 kilometers, 25 miles, outside of Athens. Asylum was something they should have looked into. Adil Hussein was looking for his brother, who he believed had returned to Pakistan from Greece after spending 12 or 14 years there without proper documentation. He stayed for 2 years before deciding to leave the country and seek his fortune in Italy. "My brother's pal is here. I need to know if anyone has seen my brother." Hussein, a Greek resident, said, "I spoke to him last Friday, and he said we're leaving Libya tonight." Outside the camp, you could also find Anwar Bakri, the Secretary General of the Syrian Association of Greece. He claimed to have gotten hundreds of calls from people in Germany, Turkey, and elsewhere worried about relatives in Syria who may have been on the doomed boat. "It's a tragedy," he sighed. Bakri said, "I have numerous photos, at least 15 photos until now, of missing people, young children, 16-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, whose parents are looking for them. There are apparently no women, or so I've been told. All the mothers were lost. They sank and drowned with their children. Migrants had forked over $4,500. During his visit to Greece 2 years ago, Pope Francis brought attention to the plight of refugees and called for action to prevent future tragedies. He wrote on Twitter, "I feel great pain at the death of the migrants, including many children," referring to the deaths that occurred in the shipwreck in the Aegean Sea. "We must do everything possible to ensure that migrants fleeing war and poverty do not lose their lives in the process of finding safety and a better future." The rusty fishing boat was presumed to have set sail from Egypt on June 10 before picking up passengers in Tobruk, a city on Libya's Mediterranean coast. The survivors reportedly told Greek authorities that they paid $4,500 each to be transferred to Italy. It is still unclear what caused the ship to sink as it was being followed by the Greek Coast Guard. Authorities, who were tipped off by Italy on Tuesday and watched the vessel for 15 hours before it sank, say the passengers repeatedly refused Greek assistance, saying instead that they wanted to go to Italy. At least twice, passengers reportedly begged for assistance, according to a lobbying group that had been in touch with the ship. Alarmphone claimed that it had notified Greek officials and aid organizations hours before the disaster struck. Current strategy infeasible. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, and the International Organization for Migration, IOM, called the recent tragedy in the Mediterranean the worst in years and urged states to close the loopholes in search and rescue regulations. With regards to the Mediterranean, it is clear that the current approach is unworkable, said Federico Soda of the IOM. The highest number of deaths occur on this route, making it the most dangerous migration route worldwide. Reports that the boat capsized while being towed by the Greek Coast Guard were disproven by authorities late Thursday. Coast Guard spokesman Nikos Alexiou told ERT that there was no effort to tug the boat. On Thursday night, 9 Egyptians in their 20s to 40s were detained in connection with the shipwreck. They were accused of human trafficking, endangering lives, wrecking a ship, and negligent manslaughter. They were scheduled to go to court in the coming days to answer the charges against them. Until last month, Greece was led by a conservative government that took a hard line on immigration, constructing walled camps and tightening border controls. There will be elections on June 25, so the country is currently being run by a caretaker government.